Stocktwits Nation. It is Tuesday, July 29th. This is the Daily Rip Live. I'm Katy Perry here with Shay Boloor. And since it's Tuesday, Jake Wujastyk is here. Jake, what's
Hello.
going on? What's new with you?
Oh, not too much. Not
Yeah.
too much. Kind of the last few times we've been on here, I've discussed, we're getting into that time of year where I'm just getting a little not on edge, but just very
Uh-oh.
cautious.
Agita? What do they say when you're just like agita? You're like, I don't
You're
know.
just anticipating the market pullback that's
Yeah.
definitely going to happen. It's just when. And,
Yeah.
this time of year, for whatever reason, is just always sometimes it happens. Last year it happened in mid-July. We started the pullback. Here we're just kind of slowly grinding up continually. And the further that rubber band is stretched, the more I get a little kind of like, okay, when is this gonna happen? But or maybe it doesn't. Maybe just everybody gets completely blown out on the short side. That's also possible. But um, you know, seasonally speaking, this is an interesting time of year, and so you start to anticipate it, and it just kind of
Yeah.
throws another variable into the equation.
Yeah. Our guest yesterday was telling us historically August and February worst months in the market. Also, I would say probably the worst months of the year overall. It's funny how that correlates.
Isn't
Uh,
it? Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like August. I'm already feeling the end of summer. Like I know, Shy, you got a lot to look forward to. You got some big stuff coming up in September.
Yeah, I got a busy Q3 for sure in my
It's one
life.
way to put it. But how about you? I mean, we'll get into earnings, but any early insights after? I mean, we just talked yesterday for a full hour, but anything you're looking at today or tracking in particular?
Yeah, I mean, overbought can stay overbought for who knows how long. I think I share Jake's sentiment that there might be a little exhaustion in the market. I think we had a lot of bullish news over the weekend. What was yesterday's reaction? Meh. So I think there is a lot of positivity, or the trade deals are priced in. To be honest, like it's not a death sentence; it's more of a negotiation tool, and a lot of people are seeing through that. And I think that you have to ask what's next. Same thing for the negative catalyst. Like, what's the next negative variable to cause the market to pull back? What's the next positive variable to cause the market to have its next leg up? Right now, we're in wait and see mode, and I think that earnings season is going to be a sobering run. Like Jake, he's more of a catalytic trader. I don't know if you want to be trading in this kind of cycle where everything's ran up. So now it's like show up or shut up type of thing where these names have doubled, tripled, and if they don't have any kind of reacceleration, they're probably going to fade the move. And there's also going to be some wonky moves. You're seeing Novo Nordisk this morning's down
Yeah,
at one point 30%, which is crazy because again, they're a mega cap company,
yeah,
250,
That's
300
crazy.
billion. They lost 100 bill like that, close to it. And guess what? They blamed Hims and Her Health for the reason, and it's ridiculous. It's like naming. Again, I'm not trying to say that Hims and Her Health is like an 8-year-old, but they lost 6x Hims and Her market cap today alone, and you're blaming
yeah,
a early disruptor for the reason why you have poor sales in your weight loss drug. That's poor corporate governance. That's the boy who cried wolf. That is
yeah.
not a good initiative, and uh, I don't know if they deserve to be down that much because they probably have a lot of strong pipeline. I don't know the company too well, but all I know is that you don't blame a $13 billion market cap company for your shortfallings when you're worth 300 billion. That's just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I mean, they got an outgoing CEO, so maybe they're just throwing flames on the way out. I don't know. It is giving the energy. Yeah, like I'm out. What's the movie where it's like F you, you're cool. I'm out. I don't know. It could be part of it. Maybe their shares, as you said, Shy, plunged to 20%. Cut full year guidance. New CEO coming, walking into this mess.
By the
Uh,
way, this is bouncing. This was at $49 last time I saw. And so
okay,
it's bouncing a little bit. It was still
okay,
freaking nuts. It broke 50.
Wow. I didn't even
yeah.
know I didn't know it broke 50.
So yeah, I mean they're citing weaker demand for Wegovy and Ozempic, which I don't know defies logic to me. But I guess Shai, you're saying they're blaming this on the failed, I guess, collaboration or partnership with
Yeah.
Hims.
they're explicitly calling out compounded GLP-1s that are being sold under false
Mm,
personalization guidance. And I think that it's, again, name of the game in that space. Like, sure, you can point it out. It's obviously not a subtle jab. You're talking about Hims and her health when you say that comment, especially weeks after saying you're going to pursue something against them and you're dropping that partnership. But here's the thing that a lot of people need to realize, like, Hims is all about personalization. That's her whole spiel. And that's they've been very clear from the beginning that they weren't trying to build a Wegovy marketplace or an actual product. They wanted to offer personalized compounding alternatives because, one, as a Netflix of the health space, they can. And two, that's what patients kind of want. Like, they're democratizing what the whole industry needs, which is price, access, and efficacy that really isn't lining up what big pharma's been trying to do. So Novo was trying to kneecap Hims during this breakup, but it's clearly not working. You saw Hims in her health, their chart, they bounced, V-shaped recovery. And guidance really wasn't meaningfully changed. Like, they still have a 2030 guidance of 6.5 billion, I believe. So I think this alone was more of a slap on the wrist for Novo because they just proved that their moat is leaking. And
mm.
Hims in her health, it's not just a GLP-1 play. It's just a component of it. They had a big bump on that recently. So now it's going to be a little digestion of, like, the year-over-year comps will get a little messy. But long-term thematic, Hims and her health could care less about GLP-1s. It's trying to tackle so much more than that. But Novo Nordisk, their flagship product, they're blaming the child again.
Mm.
Again, not saying it's a bad thing. Hims and her is not a child,
Yeah.
just based on market cap. And that's like, come on. That's
Yeah.
such poor corporate governance.
I mean, I like a good fight, so a lot of times they play nice. This is getting a little chippy. We'll keep an eye on it. I want to shift over from there we have some earnings rolling in. We had SoFi this morning, which I want to definitely dig deep into with you, Shy. But Jake, first, let's go to you because I know you've been talking about Webull a lot, and the three of us have been talking on the show about retail investors trying to chase the next Robinhood, figure out what the next thing they can jump on is. You've been tracking Bull in the technicals. Shy's been talking about SoFi and others. What are you seeing in Webull since we last checked in on this one with you?
Yeah, so I mean, Webull's one of those ones that, I mean, it is not for the faint of heart, that is for sure. Especially, um, this. Let's see. Do you want me to screen share, or do you want me to just go over kind of? Okay, there
Whatever
we go.
you want,
Yeah,
Jake.
let me
I'm
screen share.
drinking my coffee. I feel like
Let's do it. All
we're
right.
chilling today. It's Tuesday.
So, I mean, for me, Webull, pretty much just kind of stair stepping. This is honestly one of my favorite kind of setups where I guess you could call it kind of an Elliott wave type move where you're just kind of getting these impulse moves, pull back, new high, pull back. We're down a little bit in the pre-market, but I think Robinhood is an amazing platform. But one thing that just really drives me crazy about like the last pretty much since COVID, is this obsession with options trading.
Mm,
Um, and the biggest problem is most people don't understand options, when to play options. Like playing bull, right? Like I'll play options on bull in an extremely small size, um, anticipating a big move. So I did that last week. It was a very, very small position. But then you'll see, people, going very heavy in the options. And, you get a couple days like we have in the last 3 trading days, and, the options get destroyed, and probably on both sides, because you just, the implied volatility on these contracts is generally anticipating these massive moves. And so, yesterday it was down 2%. A 2% move in Webull is like, I mean, that's pretty much flat on the day for Webull. So
hmm
even this morning, I think it's at like 15.25. It's down 2%. Webull is one of those names that a 10 to 20% day happens like pretty often. So, we've had a very strong run up over the last week and a half. we're just pretty much retesting this area, this kind of this volume shelf here. There's a lot of volume supporting price here. So, I have shares simply because one, the implied volatility is extremely high. So you can sell covered calls for a pretty hefty premium relative to maybe something that's a lot less volatile. Yeah, overall, one thing that is something to consider, I think Robinhood's earnings are tomorrow.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what I was talking about, I think last time, where, we could have a sympathy play on this based on Robinhood.
Yeah.
Could be good, could be bad. I think Robinhood, I can't imagine their numbers aren't amazing because of the last, 3-4 months of trading of just, there's been a ton of trading activity. But the question is, how much of that is priced in? So, Webull's one that is still, relatively speaking, kind of on the low end of its price action over the last 3 months, whereas Robinhood's near the top of its trend from pretty much that's just gone straight up over the last few months. So we'll see what happens with that. That I think that's definitely going to move the market one way or the other. But just from a technical perspective, we do have what I look for as a high probability setup for further upside, right? You've got the stair step. If someone's not really understanding what I mean by that, you're just going up, down, higher low, higher high. I think we're, right around here pre-market. And so, the next potential wave would be, I mean, not that straight up, but, further up. So we'll see what happens. But that is one that looks good on still to me on the daily. If you go on the too many charts open.
Yeah. How many screens you working with on an average day, Jake?
That's a very
Not
personal question.
not-
How dare you ask him that?
To be honest, not many. Like
What? He's
this
on a
is the
tablet,
most-
guys.
This is the
I'm
most.
just
I
picturing
have.
like a wall. Like, how are these even organized on your desktop right now?
Well, we got daily,
This is
monthly.
stressing me out. Oh my
It's only
God.
5. To be honest, I only have like one tab open during the day, and I'm generally
What?
on my phone. Yeah,
One tab wonder. Shy, what
I
about
don't.
you?
I don't really need
Always
a ton
got
of
to. I
screens.
don't know. I put 4 fingers up. I meant to say 2 screens.
Do you have them like the vertical ones?
Yeah. So again, I wish I could. I want to change it to the massive curve one because clearly you guys see my camera. It's over here. It's hard for me to look in the camera without looking on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have that thing where you have the arm and I can just move it around. It's very corporate where I can like move the screen around, play with the arms. But
The sales bros across from me all have those curved ones, and I'm like, I don't know if you guys need that for Outlook, but good job. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't need a lot of screens. I mean,
He's a simple man.
My whole goal is to reduce noise in the market. Some of these videos of people with like 30 screens, it just makes no sense to me. I don't know how anyone can focus, but
yeah.
I mean, from a weekly standpoint, same thing. You've just got this clear rounded bottom forming here. I like to compare just market caps, the market cap of this versus Robinhood. The metrics and all of that, I'm sure, are different as far as how cheap or expensive this is relative to Robinhood. But just from a chart perspective, based on the market cap, this name is just kind of forming this nice kind of curled base, almost an accelerated view of what Robinhood did years ago. Much more accelerated view. But I mean, this thing was in the mid 20s. I mean, people say, oh, this was in the 60s, 70s. Yeah, that was for like 5 seconds. And I think that was after hours one day. But yeah, this is continuing to just form this nice base. From what I look at, it's still got the setup that I look for. And unfortunately, the last 2 months have been extremely good. So people forget like what it means to have a little volatility and, there is this color red in the market. Yeah, there is. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on bull, but I do think Robinhood's gonna likely move this, and who knows, maybe even like some other names as well. IBKR. I mean, it's like Robinhood's literally on their level at this point. So we'll just have to see.
Well, SoFi reported this morning. So they had a surging membership revenue, breaking records. I don't think this is a huge surprise. They had a lot of momentum earlier in the month, but they jumped 7%, exceeded Q2 expectations, 858 million in revenue, record user growth. They added 850,000 new members. The new member growth is really interesting to watch on these brokerages because at this point you think, okay, everyone who's gonna trade stocks is doing it by now, but there's still new people entering the market or joining multiple platforms. So it's wild to see that degree of growth. They raised their guidance. Shy, I know you guys, you and Daniel watched this one pretty closely. I think you anticipated they were going to have a good report today. Any thoughts on SoFi? And do you think this is I'm going to use the word harbinger, a harbinger, uh, a foreshadowing of what's to come for Robinhood later on in the week?
I think that they're very different. I wouldn't call it a pre-read, just like I
Okay.
wouldn't call it like compare those two companies, even though they get compared all the time. But for SoFi specifically, like it was very clean beat, and it was something that's for me, I just don't know how to value this company. It's not clearly bigger than a bank. It's doing something more disruptive. Is it a tech company? I don't think so. In the lens of Robinhood, it's just like you when you're a disruptor in a traditional industry, you do have this issue where you just don't know how to get value by the market. And that's why there was a great opportunity like that Daniel was able to capitalize on under $10 when a lot of people view them as a traditional bank. And neobank was just a wrapper. They're really just a traditional bank. Clearly, that's not the case right now. Like that growth, 44% year over year growth is wild. Record membership added, getting added. As everyone knows, these are very sticky ecosystems. Like if you want to get all your funds away from like SoFi, it's just a headache. It really is such a headache on
Yeah.
just getting all your accounts out and set up somewhere else. But for SoFi specifically, like I haven't read into it too much yet, but I just know that crypto is obviously the lever they need to pull next.
Yeah.
And I think they made that announcement recently, a couple weeks ago. We talked about it yesterday, but I don't think I've heard much about that. So I do believe that for them, the next lever needs to be similar to what Robinhood's doing, like undercut their competitors on fees to get people to move their crypto over into their platform. And it's kind of interesting for SoFi specifically because they can get a lot of like that crypto asset lending support because they are a bank. They don't have to go
Yeah.
external. And that's a really interesting angle for them. And I just don't know why they haven't communicated that. Maybe there's some issues, but
Yeah.
that's
It's
a
coming.
fundamental.
It looks like it's coming. It looks like they made, I
Mhm.
need to verify this source. I'm just going to caveat that, but it looks like their CEO, Anthony Noto, made some commentary today
Oh,
saying that Bitcoin and crypto would be impact every area of the business. Um, I need to fact check this person. I don't know this man. I've never seen him before in my life.
he's a
Uh,
historian. You got to
he's a
trust him, though.
I guess he's got I guess he's got the flame, he's got the check, we're good to go. He looks like he might work at Kraken. I don't know. Oh, he works at Okay, he's legit. So
So
they say.
I
He's
will
not
say, though,
Walter Bloomberg.
he's not Bloomberg. Yeah. I will say, technically speaking, though, like if this clears 25, it's in full discovery mode. And I think there is a 25 magnet on that stock. It's at $23 right now, 22. I just think that the typical SoFi move has always been fading earnings
Mhm.
jumps. I don't know. This feels different. I know we kind of ran up into this print. The positive sentiment is really palpable. As a not person who's not interested in that space, like I'm noticing it. So I think that this is a name where it can have a very similar Robinhood like move if it breaks their previous all time highs. And this was maybe the catalyst it needed in order to do that.
Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting in the put side by side with Robinhood, which, as you call out, it is a very different business. And with these, it is the similar products, but different user personas and styles. I know, like Jake, you mentioned a lot of options activity around the Webull. Uh, SoFi seems a little more, they were more innately diversified across different financial products, and it wasn't always just about trading. So I think historically their users are a little bit different. Although there seems to be a lot of a crossover these days. Let's check in on some additional earnings. I guess also in the fintech space, PayPal popping on profits. Wall Street's kind of shrugging though. They beat their Q2 earnings, raised full year outlook. Venmo revenue jumping 20% for the second straight quarter. Shares dropped slightly. Investors are focused on the slowed growth. I believe they had some crypto news too as well. And I think that's sort of a through line with all of these that Robinhood really started with this positioning, but moving this conversation around crypto from this is an asset we offer to this is an underpinning of a lot of things we do. And that shift sort of started with, I think, comments from Vlad a few months ago, and now the others seem to be following suit. PayPal, not one we bring up a lot. Venmo is interesting because there's a lot of ways to do peer-to-peer payments now. Cash App kind of came in hot. There's Zelle now, but they still seem to be growing there. And of course, they make money when you guys just leave money sitting in there. So, take your money out unless you're a Venmo investor or a PayPal investor, in which case maybe leave it in. Either of you guys have a thought on PayPal?
Listen, these fintech companies are end of the day, they're wrappers, a majority of them. I'm not saying PayPal is, but they freaking missed the boat on a first mover advantage via Venmo. Like everyone was using Venmo right off the gates. Sat on their hands, and now Zelle via JP Morgan's essentially neck to neck. There's a lot of alternative products out there that essentially do what Venmo originally disrupted. And now you have to ask yourself, do you really want to invest in PayPal as a potential Square within the Square lens, which is just point of sales? Like, I'm just like, not really. They're not doing something as disruptive as SoFi by owning the actual bank. They're not doing something as disruptive as Robinhood, which is monetizing attention essentially. So I think that they're in no man's land a bit, but they're undervalued. So if they figure it out, it's like they have huge branding and huge real estate essentially in a lot of these transactions that if they pull the right levers, they can have a renaissance and an old as blue type of mentality.
Yeah. I do like the idea of a PayPal comeback, although like PayPal, they're the PayPal mafia. They historically were very dominant, but they did sort of lose some of their luster. Uh let's turn over to Tesla. We talked about Tesla yesterday. They have a deal with Samsung on some new chips worth $16.5 billion. Jake, I know on the technical side, you've been watching Tesla. Let's flip to that, and then we'll go back to Shy to sort of catch up if anyone missed the show yesterday on what this chip deal means.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of back to exactly where it was after earnings. And so that means my charts that I shared previously are very similar because they're on the month, at least this one's on the monthly candle chart. So, yeah, I think the fact that we did recover pretty much the entire move is a good sign versus just continuing to knife down after a pretty rough day after earnings. But, we're just kind of we're still in this kind of area where it can go either way. If you draw kind of this basic trend line here, you pretty much are we're very close to kind of make or break here, what's called kind of the apex of this ascending triangle. So generally, statistically speaking, these do resolve to the upside more than the downside, but it's probabilities, right? You can have a 20 playing blackjack and the dealer has, a very low probability card of hitting 21 and they still can hit 21. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, this is definitely going to break to the upside, but with the market at all-time highs and this kind of lagging quite a bit, it would make more sense for this to kind of be a laggard move to the upside following the market. But at the same time, I'm like really dealing with this kind of back and forth with myself. Like, do I want to start a bigger position in this and just, every morning, wake up, did Elon say anything last night that really throws price action off completely?
Isn't that fun though? Isn't that part of
No,
the
I don't. not particularly.
I
I try
guess
to avoid the.
not when your money's tied up in it. For me, I'm like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, when my money's not tied up in it, and I don't have that
Yeah,
position in Tesla
fair.
yet, but
Very
those are
fair.
the things that I'm thinking about when thinking about Tesla. Now, that this is the monthly candle chart. This is kind of where I wanted to dive into just each individual time frame because daily, weekly, monthly setups are what I tried to find confluence in. Well, funny enough, like the daily and the weekly are kind of in this symmetrical triangle. One thing I wanted to point out here is you pretty much filled the gap almost perfectly here yesterday, and we rejected. So, using gaps as support and resistance levels are very powerful. Generally, price respects these areas very well, and we saw that yesterday with Tesla. So we're just kind of like still, the range is getting smaller. The highs and the lows are kind of compressing here. That's essentially the definition of a symmetrical triangle. But it's tough because these can go either way. A symmetrical triangle is definitely one that's a pretty neutral setup. So you really have to just see which way is price going to go. Now, if you go to the weekly candle chart, it's even more compressed. That's not the weekly candle chart. I mean, you can see from here, this extends even further out. So we're pretty much like one candle left at the apex here, where we're likely going to get a move. So as I mentioned, this can really go either way. And so that's kind of the question mark. And the way to gauge that is just following price action. It's kind of like watching the weather. It's like, well, we're not sure if it's going to rain or not. And the only way we're really going to know is if it starts raining, right? So if price breaks to the upside, generally that means we're probably going to break out to the upside. But like having a predefined statistical kind of edge here, symmetrical triangles aren't my favorite at all, especially if you anchor the volume profile. You're kind of still in this. Anytime you have volume above price, it's going to act as supply. The one thing that I'm not a huge fan of is this volume gap below, which goes down to around 285. If price did break down, it can move pretty quickly. And if you look back in June, that's exactly what price did. It went right through this volume gap and then literally went straight back up. So, if we did break down, that move could happen pretty quickly. But right now, I'm pretty neutral on it from a monthly candle perspective. Like I said, that 1, 2, 3 kind of diagram definitely suggests we may be nearing the next leg up. But if you look back at September 2014 to around October 2019, we did have literally like 5 years of just this choppiness before we just exploded to the upside. So it's now been about 4 years. Maybe we technically could have one more year to go of just choppiness if we were to replicate what happened back in 2014 and 2019. So yeah, it's a tough one. It's just one of those names that I would prefer to, I
You don't
wanted,
want
I
that
want,
drama in your life, It sounds like you just
yeah,
don't. You're focused. You like your charts. You don't need
yeah,
that. You don't need that noise on the
yeah, and
side.
I've posted, before, like, hey, this is exactly why I don't, when we've had those 10% move downs or more, 5 to 10% move downs. I mean, back in June when I forgot, was it like a 15% or more drop in a day? Like I just, if it happens to a stock, that's fine. But like that could have probably been avoided pretty easily by,
Yeah.
Elon just maybe not saying anything. So,
Yep.
yeah, when you've got those outside kind of influences, it just makes it a bit tougher
Yeah.
to invest in it or trade it.
It is interesting for. Oh, and there's the opening bell. For someone on the technical side, it is the day-to-day antics, and then Shy, what we talk about on people like you, it's the long-term brand reputation over time and like what the impact of those are. He seems to be kind of sedated lately, although maybe I just have him muted or something. I don't really know. But when you zoom out, for your purposes, I know we talked about the Samsung thing yesterday. I'm curious. So this deal, like, so apparently this factory is going to be like, he said he's like walking distance from the factory. He's like, I'm going to go walk the line. I'm like, what a nightmare. But you've kind of called this out. He's kind of like, okay, he's done with the Doge thing. He's like, I'm back. I'm going to sleep in the office. I'm going to walk the factory, allegedly. Do you think this signals like a different chapter than we've seen from him previously this year?
I think that Samsung deal reiterates he's going full blast on Optimus and autonomy. And in order to do that, you need an AI factory, and that's essentially what Samsung's going to provide. But for price action wise, like I think the market's telling you what they care about. It's not about the numbers that they're reporting; it's about what it's actually building. It's very future looking, and eventually they're going to have to back up the fundamentals. But as of right now, I think the market's viewing them in the with the lens of a VC backed company where it's
Mm.
purely a startup. What they're doing is highly disruptive in these multiple super cycles of mobility and robotics, and they're going to have a place in those themes. It's very hard for me to imagine in 10 years Tesla, humanoids and autonomy won't have Tesla being a leader of that. It might be dead money until who knows how long, but as of right now, like it's holding up well. Like that was an ugly earnings report.
Yeah.
There's across the board, even their energy business, which it was small, but it was like, wow, that's showing a ton of momentum. Elon even made some commentary that it's going to be anchored a bit because of tariffs. I was like, oh, great. The only aspect of their business that's actually hitting on all cylinders is now going to be penalized from this tariff war. That didn't affect the stocks. So I think kind of have to follow price action a bit right now and see like what the market actually cares about. Who knows? Maybe eventually their fundamentals, like actually on their automotive business, actually picks up. I'm not underwriting that because that's not why I'm investing in it, but it's a company that I'm not adding. I'm definitely not selling. I'm going to let it ride out into top 10 position.
Nice. Well, let's move to something that is trending in the Stocktwits community. Bitmine Emergent Technologies, BMNR, down big after hours, down bad. They're trending following the announcement of a significant stock repurchase program. A lot of community members in Stocktwits are debating the company's financials, the impact of the buyback, as investors tend to do. They're also discussing the involvement of some key figures in this one. So that includes Tom Lee, Kathy Wood. I feel like I saw Peter Thiel's name a couple weeks ago associated with these guys. So trying to figure out whether the valuation's justified given its ETH holdings. Some traders looking out for a potential short squeeze opportunity there. So that's one. It's interesting times. You know, we have these big names reporting, and then we have some of these companies emerging that get a wave of interest either based on people involved or the pocket of the market they're in. Um, Real quick, I want to take a quick break from headlines though, because we have a quick message from our partners. We want to put you onto something new and what you might think is cool. So if you're already swiping your card for gas, groceries, dinner, you can actually start stacking Bitcoin while you're doing that. So if you want to get the Gemini credit card, this is new. You can earn real Bitcoin back on everyday purchases. I actually can't believe this didn't exist prior. It makes sense. Not financial advice. And there's no annual fee. So you don't pay a fee on that. And you just sort of like what Acorns was doing with spare change back in the day. But this is earning you credits when you spend that will translate into your crypto position. So if you're ready to get started, our friends at Gemini have a promo. You can head over to gemini.com/cryptotwits and you'll get a $200 Bitcoin bonus when you sign up and spend $3,000 in your first 90 days, which, you know, if you live in New York or LA, you walk outside and you're halfway there. So terms obviously apply, but it's a pretty good head start. And with this, you can invest as you spend. So it's the crypto era, and Gemini thinks you should act like it. So thank you to our partners at Gemini for that. Definitely check that out. Guys, I actually want to talk about one we never talk about because I just want to get your consumer take on this one. Starbucks is reporting after earnings. I don't even want to get into the business yet. Have you been into a Starbucks since the new CEO came in, since they've been trying to turn around? And have you noticed a difference? Because he came in hot and he's like, the names are going back on the cups. We're gonna start actually being nice to you. Like you can charge your computers. I've been in a few and it doesn't feel different at all. Have you guys messed with Starbucks at all since Brian Nickel dropped in?
I think it gives off very much CVS vibes of ick.
What?
It's like all of a sudden, no, it's just like it's not. It doesn't have the aura anymore. Where
No.
used to what people walk in, you felt studious, like you studied there, you drink coffee, you felt elevated. Now it just feels a little trashy-ish.
You don't
The
want the
drinks.
neon pink drink?
Well, the drinks are even trashy. Like it's like, come on,
Yeah.
it's like I know it's not gonna be the highest quality. It's all about
Yeah.
quantity. It's full of sugar. All those drinks. Dutch Bros is just eating their lunch on the younger demographics, and now the older demographics, they actually care about the quality of coffee and the beans. They're gonna go to the fancier
Yeah.
coffee shops that are in the neighborhood. So I think they're in the awkward in between of great brand recognition and it's just they didn't really innovate as quickly as they needed to. It's very much like Nike.
Yeah.
Both just sat on their hands and let competing products gain momentum in their key demographics. And now they're playing catch up when they literally didn't have to. They had such a high barrier of entry. And now they're in this
Yeah.
uncomfortable position of too bloated to make the necessary pivots. And now have to be strategic on what to cut and what to double down on.
I just read a headline. They're just trying a lot of things because I just saw a headline that said, "Oh, we're bringing the green aprons back." I'm like, I don't know if that was your problem, but we can. Dutch Bros though, is that a West? I've never seen one of those in my life. Do you have those, Jake, or is that like an
I
LA
think there,
thing?
I think there's a couple in
Oh,
Denver.
interesting.
I can.
I've tried to go multiple times. The line's massive,
What
like the
what's so
delivery
good
line.
about it?
It's just very sugary, tasty drinks, I guess.
Okay,
My fiance's in the Gen Z demo.
okay,
They like it. And my future sister-in-law is 13. She's obsessed with it. It's a fun drinks. It's highly
yeah,
customizable, and
okay.
one day I'll try it.
Dutch Bros. Well, they have a great ticker, Bros. That's all I know
Bros.
about them. Just like they got
Another
I love a
green
good
one.
ticker grab. Bros. It's great. I would get merch. I hope they have merch on their investor relations website. They probably don't. Um, Interesting. Coffee wars. So we'll see from Starbucks. I know that's yeah, they're throwing a lot at the wall there. I don't know. I think they need a unified message to the street about what they're doing over there. But coffee is very commoditized. You can walk anywhere and get a cup of coffee and pretty damn good one too. Um, let's shift over to some. I saw this headline this morning and it felt like Monopoly vibes. Railways on track for a shakeup. Forget about the railways in the US, but Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern are exploring a mega merger that would redefine US supply chains. This is going to combine two freight giants, but there's going to be some regulatory hurdles, integrations there. A lot of questions around how the administration is going to approach this from an antitrust standpoint. Is it going to set a precedent for other potential mergers? Also, conversations going. Others in the industry might have to team up to come up against Union Pacific. But something to watch, and it's always we talk about this a lot. We talk about AI and lithium and nuclear energy, and then we talk about railroads sometimes. That's an old school. And you guys got any hot take? I mean, Jake, you're in Railroad Central, right? In Colorado, you got lots of railroads there.
We
Got any
do.
thoughts
We
on
do.
railroads? Like a big train guy?
Not
Not so
really.
much. All right.
My son likes them.
Yeah.
I used to live behind, not right behind one, but far enough away where it wasn't too loud. But it was pretty interesting seeing what comes, what
Yeah.
comes on these trains. I mean, I don't know if this is common, but in Denver, I mean, you've got these like literally these bodies of like massive planes,
What?
like 20 in a row. Yeah, like Boeings, just like you've got
Whoa.
like huge wind turbine like equipment.
Crazy.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool. You wake up and you got like 20 planes just passing you in a row. That
I
was
didn't know that. I guess, yeah.
I
How
didn't
would
either
they
until I
transport
saw it.
them? Well, that's a perfect
Well, not with the
segue.
wings, not with the wings, just the body of
Oh,
it. Like,
I was
yeah,
gonna
just
say they'd be taking stuff out on
yeah.
the side of the road.
No, just
That'd
like
be
literally
dangerous.
whatever they
The
call the
body.
main fuselage or whatever it is. But yeah, no,
Interesting.
that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, you guys
But
got a
yeah,
good train station in Denver. That's a good one.
Union, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely got a vibe to it.
Well, you touched on the next thing I wanted to discuss, which is Boeing. So Boeing and their planes that usually have wings, they beat expectations in Q2. $22.7 billion in revenue. They slashed their cash burn. Their CEO saying 2025 shaping up to be a turnaround year. If you follow headlines, that's, that would be a good thing for them. They had a lot of rough safety issues back in 2024. Executive shakeups. Shares are up slightly on the news. So another one to watch on the Boeing front. One thing, I guess, Shy, question for you. I'm not following, but like these guys historically, I mean, they have the commercial piece, but they also are a supplier to the government as well, right? For like a defense sort of play. Do you have any idea of like how their momentum is there, or if they're getting disrupted by some of these newer players that you watch?
I know their defense revenue has just been non-existent on the year-over-year
Interesting.
growth. Like, I think their defense revenue, don't quote me on this, guys, is like 25 to 30% of their total revenue. I think their commercial airplanes are about 40 to 45%.
Hmm.
But it's just the defense, like it's been stuck. Like I'm looking at fiscal.ai right now, and 10 years ago, their defense revenue was 33. Here, let me share my screen. All right, share.
Someday I'm gonna learn how to share my screen, and then it's over for you guys. I don't know what I'm gonna share yet, but
All
it's
right,
gonna
so
be.
you guys see this right now. This is their defense, space, and security revenue. Boeing.
Yeah.
What was it? 10 years ago, it was like around 33 billion a year. Started decreasing
Wow.
30 billion. Now it's at 24. It's like stabilizing. There's zero growth at all. And that's saying something when you know that the DoD budget has incrementally increased their budget year after year. So my anticipation is that they are losing revenue. You just see that. Wow, look at their commercial too. They're just a mess.
Yeah.
Let's see their
Turnaround
total
though. It's
revenue.
turnaround year.
Well, they have a
It's the
duopoly.
corp
That's the
speak.
thing.
Yeah.
So like, there's
They have a lot of wiggle room to mess up before they're totally
what's their
toast.
valuation? Let's see their valuation.
What platform are you looking at here, Shy?
Fiscal.ai, my
Cool.
go-to metric I love using
Very cool.
for these kind of questions. Let's see forward valuations to PE. Let's get rid of this. Oh, it's negative. Let's not do PE. Is there any are they really negative on their valuation? Jeez, I had no idea that it's that bad. Yeah, there's nothing positive, which is crazy to say. I guess EV to EBITDA might be the closest thing. I mean, not really. It's just a hideous. It's just hideous. There's nothing. There's no way of being around it. You can't. I don't know how you can value it. Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing. There's no way you
You're
can
like, I
value.
can't even look at that. Get that off
You
my
can't.
screen.
It's just so inconsistent. Like, oh my god, there's no trend. You can't see where they're gaining momentum. What a nightmare! I didn't realize it was that bad as a Boeing shareholder.
They're going through it a little bit. Going through it a little bit.
Been.
Yeah.
It hasn't been the greatest 5 years for them.
No, but maybe they'll get it back together. They just need to get those fuselages on the trains.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, I want to go back to you on your charts for a second, because one other thing we've been talking to you a lot about, and we haven't checked in today on, is China. And I know you were kind of gravitating towards those names a few weeks ago. What's the latest and the greatest on that front?
Yeah, nothing's really changed as far as like the thesis goes. I mean, it's kind of so, I think I mentioned last week or the week before, I've kind of gone mostly shares. So Baidu is one I have a share position in. I do have Baba as well. It's an options position, but it's like further dated. But if you look at the seasonality, it's still this time of year switches from like solid seasonality for the US markets and then kind of goes into more favorable seasonality for names like Baba and kind of China in general. But one thing I wanted to point out, and I think I pointed this out last time, but just to reiterate, one, I guess I don't think I pointed out, we have this volume gap. And if if you've seen some of my other charts on this show, I like to identify these areas of low liquidity where price can move very quickly. On top of that, I am on the weekly candle chart. So the MACD continues to curl to the upside. One of the main things that I look at, I kind of tried to highlight this here with this box, but the Williams percent range is the middle indicator, the one with the yellow background. And you'll notice the percent range always goes into this upper territory before the RSI. And so generally, if the RSI is moving up, but the Williams percent range is already in this upside territory, that's kind of triggering the momentum, or triggering or showing you that momentum is increasing. And then once the RSI also becomes overbought or in this upper threshold, that's when you are likely kind of going to stall out. But what I like here is the fact that literally it's the same exact setup as January. Now, do we get the move that we got in January? That would be pretty impressive. I'm really more or less just looking for this move up to around 132. That's also where there's a price gap up there as well to fill. But same thing. I mean, the MACD is curling to the upside. You've got the percent range signaling that momentum is starting to increase. And then you have the RSI having plenty of room to move to the upside. So this combination of indicators is generally what I look for reversals and also kind of continuations. So the MACD, the fact that the MACD is not crossed yet is kind of that one thing I'm focusing on to see like, hey, this is this is potentially in the inner earlier stages of this move. But we'll have to see. But when you compare the lower indicators with the fact that we do have this volume gap above, I have no idea what's going to trigger it at this point. I think there was something around something AI, China AI, something last night that kind of moved this a little bit overnight. But one thing we haven't seen in a while is Baba actually have a decent intraday move from open to close. Generally, what happens with China is it opens and then kind of fades. So I'm going to be kind of on the lookout to see if this changes in the next couple days. But for now, that's one that I'm focusing on. But keep in mind, this is the weekly candle chart. So each candle, next candle, we're going to just be talking about last week. Or this week when we get on the show next week. So these things take a bit of time, especially like HSI, right? I think I brought this chart up. This is a monthly candle chart. So I think that we could get a very quick move through this volume gap, but a quick move is like 1 to 2 candles, and 1 to 2 candles on a monthly chart is 1 to 2 months. So not a lot has changed with the thesis because it is on like the longer term side of things, but a mix of technicals and seasonality definitely has me interested in, participating in this potential move.
All right. Well, we'll have to check on that next week. Before I let you guys go, I don't know if you saw, speaking of CEO shakeups, we've talked about a couple of them today. P&G is announcing a new CEO, and this guy used to be, I think, a professional cricket player, which is very cool. Shailesh Jujurikar. And he is going to take over January 2026. I saw the outgoing CEO on CNBC this morning. He had sort of a tearful goodbye with Joe Kernan. They're like, am I going to see you again? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, all right, you guys can golf or something. Like, just keep it moving. But it was P&G reported earnings this morning where they made this announcement. They reported some resilience, but also warned a little bit about tariff impact on some of their brands, including Old Spice. I don't know if you guys are Old Spice guys. I personally wear Old Spice, which is surprising, but a lot of women like it. But I think this is pretty cool. This guy, look at this friendly fellow. Let's see what he's able to do there and navigate them into the future with these tariffs. Would you ever guess a professional? What do you guys think the best professional athlete to become a CEO would be? Like what sport and what position? Like a quarterback, right?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would go
What
with
do you
that.
think, Shy? You're gonna
I'm trying
spell
to think about which
basketball.
person specifically. It for sure would be a quarterback. But if you think about Mahomes, I wouldn't want him. He's too
No.
immature. I wouldn't. Joe Burrow feels like he's too cash. Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson, it would be an interesting choice actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, there isn't a
What
Tom
about
Brady or
Josh
Peyton Manning.
Allen? An
Josh Allen is
inspirational figure, more of a figurehead. Not going to come up with he's going to hire people around him to come up with the plan. He's just going to be
well.
the face.
You don't want a honeymoon,
Okay.
newlywed as a CEO. He's too distracted.
We'll
But
see.
yeah.
Well, football season, what is it? Preseason starting next week?
Yeah, it's all my wedding weekend is essentially football season.
Oh,
So like I just it
wow.
overlaps. I'm peaking in September. September's gonna be a
Yeah.
peak time for me.
I feel like we often reference sports on this show, and it's been a minute because I'm not following the Tour de France, and I don't really know what else is going on. So that'll be fun to have. Jake, do you have a favorite NFL team?
Not particularly. I like a good
Interesting.
game. Yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't sports bet a lot, but that influences who I like on a day-to-day basis.
You
If
are
I do,
very focused. I
yeah.
like it.
I mean, I watch football all the time. I'm just not
Yeah.
like a diehard. I mean, Panthers were.
Yeah.
I'm from North Carolina originally, but
Okay.
they kind of suck. So
Yeah. Hey, the Bills Mafia, we welcome all. We're a very inclusive group. So if anyone in the crowd, in the chat wants to join the Bills Mafia, you are welcome as long as you can light yourself on fire and jump onto a table. Jake, it was great to
easy.
have you back again this week. And I think next week we'll have a lot to talk about because we got a lot of earnings rolling in. Shy, any parting thoughts on the day as we depart from our lovely viewers?
Have some ammo ready because there's going to be pullbacks this earnings cycle. You're seeing
Right.
some vicious ones, and I think that Novo, a $300 billion company, can go down 30% at one point this morning. I don't know what's settling in at right now. There's always Novos in every earnings cycle, and that's where opportunities are had. And I think that monitor pullbacks on your winners that you've been wanting exposure in, like SoFi. I think I almost hit $25 this morning. It's not fading. So that's a new characteristic trade. But yeah, keep notes. Every earnings cycle has new characteristic traits and learn from it and be studious. And it's a crazy earnings week. Tomorrow we have a ton more names that we're going to go over.
All right. Well, catch us back here tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern. Thanks, guys. We'll see everyone bright and early tomorrow morning.